Welcome to tonight's gentle journey into ancient myths. Tonight, in Guardian of the Golden Fleece, the tale of the Colchian Dragon, we explore a story nestled deep in the quiet caverns of Colchis. Here, the steadfast dragon guards a treasure of unimaginable worth, the Golden Fleece, embodying an ancient duty that whispers through the ages. You're invited to rest easy as the story invites you into a world of enchanted landscapes and timeless legends. And now, let the tale unfold. In the age of heroes, where myths flourished and were whispered among the ancient Greeks, there existed a land of grand renown called Colchis. Nestled at the edge of the known world, Colchis was a place where legends were woven into the very fabric of its existence, casting an eternal aura of mystery and reverence. It was here that nature intertwined with the supernatural, creating a landscape unscathed by time and thriving on stories passed down through generations. At the heart of Colchis lay an object of divine magnificence, the Golden Fleece. This fleece, crafted from the wool of a sacred ram, shimmered with a golden hue that symbolized kingship and authority. It was a coveted symbol of power, believed to have the favor of the gods themselves, and bestowed upon those deemed worthy. Its creation was a tale in itself, a celestial undertaking that resulted in an object that was both a treasure and a testament to the gods' involvement in the mortal realm. Bound through ancient duty to protect this illustrious symbol was the mighty Colchian Dragon. This creature was not just a guardian but a vital part of the mythic tapestry that held the delicate balance between mortals and gods in place. Charged with the sacred task of guarding the Golden Fleece, the dragon represented unwavering vigilance, a sentinel whose presence deterred even the bravest of souls from encroaching upon its charge. This duty was not merely an obligation, but a life purpose, echoing a commitment that spanned the histories of entire civilizations and generations of watchful protectors. Emerging from a lineage of guardian creatures woven into the mythos of the world, the dragon's origins were as profound as its present duty. It harkened back to a time when such creatures were entrusted with the safeguarding of divine relics, ensuring that they remained untouched and revered throughout the ages. This lineage passed down not just the duty but the wisdom and fortitude needed to uphold it, creating a legacy of guardianship. Within the sacred caverns of Colchis, this dragon coiled its majestic form around the Golden Fleece. The caverns themselves were a haven of sacred quiet, where whispers of the past seemed to float through the air, respecting the solemn duty performed within. Bathed in a warm glow from the shimmering fleece, the cavern stood timeless and untouched, an eternal monument to the gods' influence and the steadfast watch of the dragon. The timelessness of the Colchian Dragon lay not only in its ancient beauty, but in the demeanor it displayed day after day. Time, for the dragon, did not move as it did for mortals. Instead, its vigilance was constant, with each day a seamless continuation of undying resolve. Ever stagnant, yet always alert, this creature embodied the eternal struggle between change and constancy, between humans and the supernatural. Yet within this eternity of guardianship lay the soft rumblings of change. Though steadfast and immovable, the dragon could sense the faint whisper of challenges beyond its immediate perception. A change was looming in the winds that swept through the caverns, hinting at the arrival of those who might seek the Golden Fleece. It was a gentle foreshadowing of an eventual encounter, a confrontation that might test the very foundations of its sacred duty. As twilight bathed the caverns in hues of amber and gold, the Colchian Dragon remained, coiled around its charge, eternally vigilant. Wrapped in timelessness, the creature stood watch, awaiting the day its sacred task would be challenged. And though the world outside shifted like shadows in the evening light, the dragon continued its steadfast duty, keeping the mythic legacy of Colchis alive for another day. In an age where heroes walked the earth, and legends were born amongst their deeds, Jason emerged, a figure destined for greatness. Hailing from Iolcus, a kingdom troubled by political strife, Jason was raised under the shadow of a prophecy. This prophecy foretold that he would bring about justice and rightful rule to his homeland. His path was to be fraught with challenges, the greatest being the quest for the Golden Fleece, a symbol of ultimate kingship and divine favor. Jason's quest was cemented in the fires of destiny when an oracle proclaimed his mission. It was said that only through retrieving the Golden Fleece from the distant land of Colchis could Jason secure the throne that was rightfully his. Despite the daunting task ahead, Jason's resolve was unyielding. His name began to spread far and wide, calling forth other heroes who would join him on this formidable journey. These brave souls assembled from all parts of the ancient world, forming a band of adventurers known as the Argonauts, each bringing their own unique strengths to the quest. Assembling such a crew was no small feat. Among the Argonauts were Hercules, famed for his unmatched strength, Orpheus, whose music could sway the hearts of gods and men, and Castor and Pollux, the enigmatic Gemini twins. With a team of formidable prowess and diverse talents, Jason was prepared to embark on his quest. But first, they needed a vessel worthy of the journey, and the heroes aboard it. In answer to this need, the shipbuilders of the ancient world crafted the Argo, named for its builder, Argus. Unlike any ship before, the Argo was renowned for its swiftness and grace upon the sea. It was said that Athena herself guided its creation, infusing the prow with divine wood that spoke of warnings and counsel. With the Argo ready, Jason and the Argonauts set sail under the blessing of gentle Zephyrus, the west wind, who whispered promises of hope and adventure. The journey to Colchis was not for the faint of heart. The Argonauts faced numerous trials that tested their mettle. As they sailed through twisted passages and treacherous waters, they were met by the wrath of the seas and challenges that lay hidden beneath the tranquil waves. Yet, unwavering in their resolve, the Argonauts overcame each obstacle, their determination solidifying with every trial faced and conquered. They became more than a band of warriors. They were a brotherhood, bonded through shared purpose and enduring hardship. Days turned into nights as they continued their voyage, each moment bringing them closer to the legendary land of Colchis. The shores of Colchis loomed on the horizon as a tapestry of both fate and challenge, for it was here that Jason's journey would truly be tested. As the Argo approached, a gentle evening breeze heralded their arrival, the skies painted in shades of crimson and fiery orange. The hopeful and adventurous tones resonated deeply within the crew, for they knew their greatest challenges lay before them. At long last, the Argonauts stood before the wondrous and daunting realm of Colchis. It was a land infused with mystique and guarded by a relentless dragon, its presence a command of fear and awe. Yet for Jason, the sight of Colchis was more than an end. It was the beginning of his confrontation with destiny, a destiny wrapped in golden strands and woven into the fabric of his being. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its final glow upon the Argo, the heroes felt the silent weight of the prophecy and hope binding them together. They were strangers in a strange land, yet this was a place where legends would be forged. In the quiet stillness that followed, the realization of their quest's significance sank deep into their spirits. Despite the shadow of uncertainty, they stood resolute, ready to face whatever lay in wait. With their mission clear and hearts steeled, the Argonauts prepared themselves for the trials that awaited in Colchis. The air was thick with anticipation, and the sense of looming challenges hinted at trials yet to unfold. It was here, at this pivotal moment, that their journey's true test would commence, in a land where danger and myth intertwined, waiting to reveal their fateful dance. In the mystical realm of Colchis, Medea, the daughter of King Aeetes, stood as a figure both admired and mysterious. Her lineage was rich with magic, as her mother was the enigmatic Oceanid, Idea. From a young age, Medea exhibited supernatural abilities that set her apart. Her father, proud yet wary, recognized her potential and nurtured her talents. Known for her wisdom and magical prowess, Medea was both a healer and a sorceress, gifted in the arts of enchantment and potion-making. Her days were spent in the study of mystic arts, surrounded by scrolls and incantations that danced on the breath of the wind in Colchis. Medea's serene life, however, was soon to be disrupted. One day, as she stood by the window of her chambers, her eyes caught a glimpse of the Argonauts arriving on Colchian shores. Among them was Jason, whose presence seemed to stir something deep within her. His bearing was noble, his resolve evident in every movement. Medea watched as he and his companions made their way towards the grand halls of Colchis, each step bringing with it a sense of change, inevitable yet unforeseen. The sight kindled an emotional storm within Medea, one she had never experienced before, shrouding her heart in turmoil. Her senses alerted her to her dual loyalties. On one hand lay her devotion to her father, King Aeetes, a man whose authority was as firm as the mountains encircling their realm. On the other, a strange fascination with Jason's quest encroached upon her thoughts. The Golden Fleece, a symbol of power and prosperity beyond measure, connected them all in this delicate web of fate. Each evening, as she gazed at the moonlit landscape, the weight of her dilemma grew heavier, casting shadows upon her dreams and waking hours alike. In sleep, Medea found herself in a dreamscape where the boundaries between reality and vision blurred. She dreamt of a future intertwined with Jason's fate, of paths converging yet fraught with challenges unknown. Her dreams whispered of destiny, casting aside the certainties she held dear. Night after night, the visions persisted, painting a future that both terrified and intrigued her, revealing a tapestry of events not yet woven on the loom of time. Decisions loomed large over her like the towering cliffs of Colchis. The inner conflict raged on like a sea in tempest, yet within this chaos, a resolute sense of purpose began to crystallize. Driven by an inexplicable pull towards Jason's cause, Medea resolved to act. Her mind, once a tempest of indecision, found clarity in the notion of assisting Jason. The allure of what lay ahead was too strong to resist, eclipsing her fears with the promise of new horizons. With subtlety forged in the fires of her intuitive nature, Medea initiated her support for Jason, guiding him through the complexities of her father's realm. Her acts were delicate, like the weaving of fine silk, small gestures that illuminated paths in the darkness. She provided hints, like stars guiding sailors on unfamiliar seas, hinting at the trials Jason would face and how best to navigate them. Her involvement was a dance of shadows, known only to Medea and the depths of her heart, where every beat was a testament to her growing resolve. Yet even as she tread this path, Medea was acutely aware of the internal struggle she waged. The competing voices of loyalty and love, duty and destiny, echoed in her thoughts. Each decision carved new facets into the jewel of her identity, reflecting the complexity of her spirit. Like the shifting sands of time, her loyalty to her family and her burgeoning affection for Jason moved in tandem, shaping a new reality where the old and the new entwine. Thus, Medea stood at her crossroads, a daughter caught between her past and the future. As the moon cast its gentle light over Colchis, she knew that change was inevitable. Her role in the unfolding story was one of power and grace, a legacy in the making. With a stage set and her heart tuned to the narrative that beckoned, Medea prepared for the pivotal role she was destined to play. Within the sunlit fields of Colchis, a new test awaited Jason, a trial of both might and mettle. King Aeetes, standing with the confidence of divine ancestry, eyed Jason with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. It was not enough for Jason to arrive with tales of heroism. Aeetes needed proof of his worthiness. To claim the Golden Fleece, Jason had to conquer daunting challenges, an undertaking meant to deter all but the most profound resolve. This was the test that would reveal the true spirit of those who dared to dream. The first trial beckoned with the roar of beasts, and not ordinary beasts. Before Jason stood the fire-breathing bulls, creatures of fierce power, their breath hotter than the fiercest summer day, and capable of incinerating any who came too close. Tasked with yoking these blazing creatures, Jason knew that courage alone would not suffice. These bulls were as relentless as the sun itself, and the air carried a sense of foreboding with each tremor of their mighty hooves. Aware of the peril facing Jason, Medea stepped forth with a glimmer of hope clutched quietly in her hands, a potion crafted from her vast knowledge of mystical herbs. The potion promised protection, a delicate shield against the searing flames that guarded the bulls. Jason, feeling the gentle but determined trust Medea placed in him, applied the balm and faced the beasts. As the bulls unleashed their fiery wrath, Jason's skin remained unscathed, allowing him to approach with newfound determination. With a skill both alert and fearless, he yoked the animals, proving his valor to those who watched. The second trial required Jason to sow the dragon's teeth, a task that would summon warriors upon the very earth he tread. The fields, calm and warm beneath the sun, held a hidden peril awaiting the courage of a true hero. As he scattered the fabled teeth upon the soil, the ground trembled and warriors arose, fierce and unyielding. These were not mere specters of battle but flesh, and forged steel meant to test the soul of any who dared to call themselves worthy. Here again, Medea's wisdom proved invaluable. She guided Jason with her strategic insights, whispering secrets that allowed him to fend off this army born of dragon bone and mythic soil. As he cast a stone into their midst, confusion rippled through the ranks, turning warriors against one another. Soon, the dust settled, revealing Jason as the lone figure standing amidst a field of now silent combatants. His mettle, tempered by both heart and guidance, outshone the chaos left in his wake. King Aeetes, witnessing these feats, could not hide his growing suspicion. Jason's triumphs did not sit well with him. They were a challenge to his authority and a question to the security of his reign. Yet, there was no denying the prowess Jason had demonstrated. Where he sought a sign of weakness or deception, he found none. Instead, apprehensions settled upon him, foreshadowing storms brought not by nature, but by the wills of those around him. With Jason's trials met, only the confrontation with the guardian of the Golden Fleece remained on the horizon. In the sacred grove, the Colchian Dragon awaited, a vigilant sentinel entwined in duty older than the stones themselves. But now, anticipation stirred the air, hinting at the upcoming final test. Despite the victories so far, Jason knew the greatest challenge lay ahead, where the whispers of guardianship and legend intertwined in the Cavern of Colchis. Medea's heart was heavy with determination. Her resolve to aid Jason grew with each passing glance at the sunburnt fields. She felt the weight of her choices, knowing she would stand against the currents of her past. Together they moved forward, bound by a shared destiny that neither could fully foresee. A destiny tied inexorably to the trials they had yet to face, and the myths they would leave behind. As preparations for the final confrontation began, the fields of Colchis seemed to breathe anew. The sun dipped lower, marking the end of one chapter and the beckoning promise of the next. Jason and Medea, united in purpose though divided by loyalties, stood ready to meet fate in the quiet, sacred air of anticipation. As the golden hues of dusk transitioned gracefully into the deepening shade of night, Jason and Medea stood before the entrance of the sacred cavern in Colchis. Inside lay the Golden Fleece, resplendent in its orris glow, draped over an ancient oak. But the veil of that revered relic was no ordinary one. Coiled around it, with scales glinting like tempered steel in shadowy flickers, was the stalwart guardian, the Colchian Dragon. Medea, adept with enchantments and well-versed in the art of allure, clenched a small vial in her hand. The air was charged with anticipation, the threads of destiny weaving tightly as they prepared for this most sacred encounter. The cavern's atmosphere was thick with sacredness and age-old duty, every inch marked by the dragon's vigilance, as its eyes, glimmering from the shadows, continued their watch over the coveted prize. The dragon lay largely still, yet the mere presence of its latent energy was formidable, a weight of legacy and ancient purpose that neither yielded nor showed weariness over time. Jason, armed with valor and the wisdom shared by Medea, took a tentative step forward, and the silence of the cavern became nearly palpable. It was as if the very stones beneath them held their collective breath. Jason's first approach, though measured, was quickly matched by a low, resonant growl from the dragon, a clear warning resonating through the cavern's echo-laden depths. The guardian's eyes narrowed, a silent proclamation of its unwavering resolve to defend the Golden Fleece at all costs. The expanse between them seemed to tighten, an invisible line of tension that neither side dared to cross lightly. Understanding the ancient guardian's unyielding nature, Jason paused, acknowledging the dragon's authority and the sanctity of the space it watched over. Sensing the need for intervention, Medea extracted a pouch from her robes, its contents mixed with skill and arcane knowledge. She whispered soft incantations, words imbued with a gentle power meant to soothe and pacify. As the soft ethereal notes mingled with the stillness of the air, the dragon's fierce demeanor began to waver. Slowly, the energy that had bristled the scales of the dragon seemed to ebb, its massive form subconsciously responding to the enchantments weaved with care and precision by Medea. The transformation within the cavern was subtle yet profound, as the guardian slipped into a trance, its eyes growing still and serene. It was a moment of reverence and wonder, the dragon's ancient duty momentarily set aside, a testament to Medea's mastery over such enigmatic arts. Jason carefully advanced, Medea by his side, the Golden Fleece, once an untouchable treasure, now tantalizingly within reach, a symbol not just of kingship, but the culmination of quests and trials. With the guards of legend momentarily at peace, Jason moved steadily towards the Golden Fleece, the object of dreams and prophecies. Each step, measured and deliberate, held the echoes of courage and the shared sacrifices of the Argonauts who had sailed these distant seas, all for this very moment. The dragon remained tranquil, its breathing deep and rhythmic, a silent participant in the unfolding drama it had long been a guardian of. Finally, with eyes wide and heart steady, Jason reached out, his fingers brushing the fleece. The touch felt electric, a culmination of destiny's countless encounters. He carefully lifted the fleece from its resting place, the weight of it honoring the legacy of the heroes who had sought it before him. As he began to withdraw, leaving behind the cavern and its timeless guardian, the awe of sacred duty completed weighed against the excitement of new beginnings. Beginnings born of change, destiny, and determined endeavor. In the serenity that followed, there was no celebration, no triumphant cry. Instead, the moment wrapped itself quietly around those present as a foundational change settled on ancient grounds. The dragon's temporary submission was a testament to the transition at hand, a gentle reminder of the continuing cycle of myths and the beauty within those persistent echoes of legacy. The air, once tense and expectant, now offered a calm embrace as Jason and Medea, guided by a quiet reverence, retraced their steps out of the cavern. Their triumph over ancient challenges spoke volumes not just of courage, but the enduring echoes of collaboration between hero and guide, of human and the mystical unknown. Their purpose, now tangible in the form of radiant fleece, was just one part of the journey. With the sacred object in hand, a new chapter awaited, one of eluding pursuit and navigating the return from the edges of myth and glory. And as the cavern slowly darkened with the retreating figures, it too settled back into the rhythm of timeless watchfulness, awaiting futures yet written, futures where dragons again dream and fear. Caverns of Colchis. As twilight descended over Colchis, the cavern's sacred tranquility was left behind by Jason and Medea. Having secured the Golden Fleece, they emerged into the silent night, the air thick with the promise of their daring escape. They moved swiftly, aware that the cloak of darkness provided both cover and a fleeting sense of security. With each step away from the cavern, a new urgency embraced them. King Aeatus would not remain oblivious to the disappearance of his prized treasure for long. Their immediate retreat was marked by calculated haste. Jason, clutching the radiant fleece, felt the weight of its legendary significance, matched only by their need for speed. Medea, determined and sharp-witted, guided their steps. Her mind revolved around the perils ahead, already devising schemes to obscure their trail from those who might pursue. Silent communication passed between them. There was harmony in their shared purpose. As expected, it wasn't long before the alarm bells tolled through the kingdom, their sound ringing sharp against the night. King Aeatus, upon learning of the fleece's absence, dispatched his swiftest warriors to recapture it. His anger, steeped in feelings of betrayal and loss, fueled the pursuit with relentless intensity. In the shadows of Colchis, immersed in the enveloping night, Medea's resolve hardened. Her knowledge of the land's secrets was unparalleled, and she skillfully crafted diversions using her sorcery. Illusions shimmered and whispered in the moonlight, forest trails leading into deceitful echoes and false trails that snaked away. These ethereal misdirections kept the king's men at bay, buying precious time for the escaping party. As they reached the coastline, the comforting sight of the Argo greeted them. The ship lay moored in wait, appearing almost spectrally under the star-studded sky. Without delay, Jason and Medea boarded, joining the anxious Argonauts. Each oarsman stood ready, nerves steeled against what lay ahead. With the sail unfurling in a whispered rush, the Argo slipped into the open sea, the gentle rhythm of waves against its hull marking the beginning of their flight. Yet, their departure did not go unchallenged. The king's fleet, spurred by a vengeful urgency, pursued them with determination. The Argonauts, seasoned by trials and becoming experts in navigation and endurance, faced this chase at sea. As dawn hinted at the horizon, they maneuvered through the dark waters, trusting in their skills and Medea's insights. The sea itself was a canvas of night, spangled with the starlit silver of the heavens above. An urgent hope coursed through each member of the crew, driving their synchronization and fortitude. Under Medea's guidance, subtle winds favored the Argo, and the currents seemed to bend to their will, a testament to the lingering magic that clung to the fleece. Amidst the tension of the chase, Medea's emotions surged, relief mingled with a poignant trepidation. Her heart was torn. The ache of leaving behind her homeland was a deep personal struggle. Here she had wielded her moonlit talents, intertwined her fate with Jason's destiny, and now departed the land that had once defined her. Yet, within her, there grew a quiet affirmation. The decision to help Jason had reshaped her path into uncharted waters, one she was ready to navigate. The sacrifice of her past was testament to the promise of what lay beyond, even as the past lingered like a hushed breath on the back of her neck. The Argo glided with purposeful grace over the expanse of the sea, distancing itself from the receding shadows of Colchis. For the Argonauts, The Golden Fleece was more than an objective. It was a symbol of their camaraderie, a testament to their trials and the unity forged in adversity. As the night slowly began to yield to dawn, the fleece shimmered in the growing light, a beacon of their arduous yet hopeful journey onward. In the quiet embrace of the sea's early morning calm, Jason and his companions reflected on the enormity of their quest. Each stroke of their oars was a vow to return and share how this tapestry of triumph and endurance had shaped them. And amidst the serenity of the open sea, the Argonauts sailed on, even as dangers ahead stirred the waters beyond. The dawn slowly crept over the horizon as Jason and the Argonauts found themselves far from the shores of Colchis. The night had provided them a much-needed cloak of darkness for their escape, but with daylight came new challenges. The power of the Golden Fleece, resting safely aboard the Argo, seemed to stir ancient forces from the depths of the sea, drawing mythical creatures eager to reclaim what was never theirs. Their voyage was soon beset by legends that spoke of sea monsters and beastly figures that prowled the open seas. The fleece, as if emanating a beacon, attracted these beings who rose from tumultuous deep waters, their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. The Argonauts, seasoned through adventures and battles, were not taken by surprise. They banded together, their bravery emboldened by collective purpose. Using their cunning and strategic skills, they maneuvered the ship gracefully, evading the clutches of creatures that loomed, shadows against the growing sunlight. As the Argo glided onward, they navigated through waters fraught with unseen hazards, avoiding treacherous islands known for harboring hostile creatures. Each island held its own dangers, cloaked in the guise of secluded beauty, but sharp as a viper's fangs. The breadth of their trials spoke to the ever-present danger that the heroes faced, a reminder that the gods looked upon their quest with both favor and curiosity. Yet the strength of their camaraderie became a beacon in its own right, a unifying light against the darkness of uncertainty. Through each trial, Jason and the Argonauts' loyalty to one another grew stronger, forged in the fires of shared peril and an unwavering desire to return home. Stories told in hushed tones on starless nights solidified their bonds, even as the very air seemed to whisper with the ancient history of their journey. With each victory, no matter how small, the Argonauts felt the weight of the fleece, a symbol not merely of victory, but of what they had collectively endured. Among these legends, they overcame magical threats with a mixture of courage and wit, drawing inspiration from each other's strengths. Whether they were facing sirens whose songs threatened to lead them astray or peculiar islands shrouded in illusions, the Argonauts, guided by Jason's leadership and Medea's otherworldly insight, displayed an unyielding capacity to learn and adapt to new threats. Their resolve shone as bright as Helios himself guiding paths through once uncharted waters. Their journey was not without its share of natural challenges. The skies above soon turned from azure to a menacing gray, cloaked in stormy wrath. Thunder roared and lightning struck, slicing through the sky like Zeus's own weapon. Waves rose to gigantic heights, threatening to engulf the Argo in their fury. Yet, as the tempest raged, the Argonauts' determination stood firm. Tightly they held to their posts, faces set against the pouring rain, minds focused on each obstacle. The debilitating storm was a true test of their mettle, leaving them exhausted and drenched but not broken. They navigated with the trust that only those bound by shared experience could possess. Together, they weathered the relentless winds and crushing waves, their spirits uniting under the force of their shared purpose. Even as the fearsome storm showed no mercy, the Argo sailed on, a testament to their resilience and unity. With each passing hour, their shared goal of returning home became more tangible and deeply felt among the crew. The trials had brought them closer, welded their spirits to an enduring bond that neither time nor trial could easily sever. In the throes of adversity, their eyes were firmly set on hope, a mutual determination pushing them toward calmer waters and a reunion with the familiar shores of home. As the storm receded in the distance, dissipating into the oblivion of memory, there was a quiet realization that all storms, no matter how fierce, eventually end. The Argo emerged resilient and carried on its onward course. The enduring legacy of their journey lay not only in the acquisition of the Golden Fleece, but in the strength, bravery, and unity they had cultivated along the way. A gentle sunlight flickered through parting clouds, illuminating the open sea ahead. With it came the promise of smoother sailing, a subtle reminder that their journey was far from over, yet a measure of success was inherently theirs. The sea, ever a source of both peril and passage, stretched wide before them, cradling the golden prize safely aboard the Argo, urging them forward in gentle waves. The Argo sailed forth under a bright sky, her sails filled with a gentle, unwavering breeze as the tumultuous seas finally gave way to calm. The chaos of storms and mythical beasts left behind, the Argonauts felt an overwhelming sense of relief and rejuvenation wash over them. Even the steadfast ship herself seemed to breathe easier, gliding effortlessly on the placid waters. It was a moment that symbolized not only respite, but a renewed sense of hope. Hope for a safe return and a future bright with possibilities. As they progressed, Jason and his crew sighted friendly shores that promised much-needed rest and supplies. Such encounters with welcoming lands were not only practical but morale-boosting. Small villages nestled along the coastlines offered the Argonauts provisions and warm hospitality. With each dock, stories of their daring exploits spread, earning admiration and support from all who heard them. There was a peculiar comfort in these pauses, a reminder of the world beyond their journey and the humanity that awaited their return. During these moments of respite, the bond between Jason and Medea became increasingly evident. Their shared glances and whispered conversations were marks of a growing partnership, one built on mutual respect and understanding. Medea, whose magical prowess had often been the key to their survival, found in Jason a leader willing to listen and appreciate her invaluable insights. Together they forged a connection that would not only define their journey, but their lives thereafter. Meanwhile, aboard the Argo, a sense of camaraderie blossomed among the Argonauts. As they sailed on tranquil seas, they gathered to share tales of their adventures, recounting moments of peril with humor and reflection. Each story, told under the open sky and stars, served to strengthen their bonds. The trials at sea had transformed them from a band of individual heroes, seeking glory, into a unified group with woven destinies. Reflecting on his role as leader, Jason pondered the weighty responsibilities that came with carrying the Golden Fleece. It was not just a symbol of accomplishment, but a beacon of his leadership's success and the trials they had overcome. He mused on the change within him, brought about by the perils they had faced and the courage it demanded. It was a quiet moment of introspection, where the young hero envisioned the leader he hoped to become and the legacy he would leave. As days passed, the Argonauts found solace in the knowledge that home lay not far off. Each sunrise brought them closer to familiar shores, revitalizing their spirits. The specter of past dangers faded with each nautical mile they traversed under the sun's warm gaze. Their collective spirit lifted, buoyed by the anticipation of reunions and the celebratory moment when the Golden Fleece would be presented at home. The chapter of perilous adventures was drawing to a close, yet Jason and his crew realized that new challenges awaited them. Their hearts stirred with resolve, fueled by the memories of the seas they had conquered, and by the dreams of what was yet to come. With the tranquil sea stretching endlessly before them, the story of the Argonauts continued to unfold, a tale of courage, friendship, and the enduring power of myth. As the Argo continued its serene journey home, Jason stood by the ship's edge, the gentle spray of the sea a comforting balm against the worries that loomed ahead. The calm stretch of water mirrored the introspective contemplation shared by all aboard, each Argonaut quietly immersed in their own thoughts. The journey had changed them, shaped them into the figures they were now becoming, yet the transformation was still unfolding with every gentle lurch of the ship. Jason thought back over the trials they had faced. The Golden Fleece, once a distant symbol of their quest, now lay secured beneath the deck, its weight a constant reminder of the responsibilities it bore. He considered the expectations awaiting him back in Iolcus. The promise of leadership, the whispers of legacy, all seemed daunting under the vast open sky. Yet there was a sense of growth, a confidence born not just from what they had achieved, but from the bonds forged with his crew. Nearby, Medea stood quietly, her gaze fixed on the horizon. The journey had both fulfilled and troubled her, bringing forth questions about her place in the world left behind and the one she was entering. Her magical interventions had been crucial, yet there lingered concerns about her acceptance in Jason's homeland. It wasn't merely about returning, it was about finding her role in the narrative yet to unfold. She pondered how her presence would be perceived, and what future awaited her in a land bound by unfamiliar customs. The Argonauts, too, felt the shift within. Seated in small groups across the deck, they shared subdued conversations, each exchange echoing the deeper understanding of the camaraderie that had supported them through both peril and calm. They spoke of what awaited them, families, accolades, and the nuanced changes that time and experience had wrought. In their eyes shone an expectation mingled with uncertainty, knowing that the home they would return to might not be the same as the one they had left. An unexpected encounter broke the rhythm of their musings. As twilight descended, painting the sky in shades of fiery orange and red, they spotted a distant island. The crew, curious yet cautious, decided to dock briefly, seeking fresh supplies and perhaps news of the world beyond their wooden vessel. As they approached, a group of islanders came forward, their faces a mix of curiosity and hospitality. Yet, even in this seemingly peaceful interaction, lay a test. Jason and Medea took the lead, their interactions tinged with diplomacy. Medea's charm and Jason's steady presence reassured the islanders, fostering a tentative yet amicable exchange. The islanders shared their stories, tales of distant lands and local lore, enriching the Argonauts' understanding of the sea's broader expanse. Although brief, this encounter reminded them of the importance of unity, diplomacy, and the shared humanity that transcended their journey. As they returned to the Argo, the night sky welcomed them with a canopy of stars, markers of hope and guidance. Jason reflected on the friendships that had cemented themselves against the backdrop of endless waves and shifting tides. He understood that these bonds were as much a part of the Golden Fleece's legacy as the quest itself. The tales they would tell, the legends that would grow, were not just of dragons and kings, but of the timeless human spirit they embodied. With the sunset fading behind them, ushering in a cooler night breeze, the Argo resumed its path. The sea, now a reflective sheet of moonlight and star glow, seemed a bridge between their past hardships and the uncertain future. As they sailed onward, the horizon stretched before them, a promise of familiar shores and the life they would soon rejoin. The quietude of their reflections blended with the rhythmic lapping of water against the ship, a soothing melody of transition and promise. Each member of the expedition took a quiet moment to internalize their journey thus far, carrying within them both the trials overcome and the transformation they had embraced. Finally, as they gathered on deck to watch the horizon together, there was a shared understanding, a silent accord that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. The journey's end was not just a return, but a beginning shaped by the past and beckoning toward the future. As the dawn broke with its gentle hues of golden sunrise spilling over the horizon, the mighty Argo gracefully sailed closer to the shores of Iolcus. The journey home was marked by a sense of triumph, yet there lay an undercurrent of tension that the Argonauts could not ignore. The famed crew, having braved mythical perils and treacherous waters, now approached the culmination of their quest with a mixture of hope and apprehension. Steering the ship towards the harbor, Jason could see the gathering crowds awaiting his return. News of their adventures, and especially their success in acquiring the legendary Golden Fleece, had traveled far and wide, drawing both townspeople and noble dignitaries to the docks. Faces filled with curiosity and expectancy lined the shoreline, eager to witness the heroes who had defied all odds to return victorious. The sea breeze carried the distant murmur of anticipation, blending with the rhythmic lap of waves against the Argo's hull. Upon finally docking, Jason stood at the prow with a resolute posture, the weight of the precious Golden Fleece in his hands. The fleece glistened in the early morning light, a mesmerizing tapestry of golden threads that spoke of power and kingship. With cautious pride, he stepped onto the shore, ready to deliver the promised prize to King Pelias, who awaited with a courtly entourage. Medea, beside him, maintained a keen eye on the unfolding spectacle, sensing the political nuances at play in this momentous return. As Jason presented the Golden Fleece to King Pelias, a murmur ran through the assembled crowd, an audible mix of awe and disbelief. Yet, beneath the king's ceremonial smile, there lay a reluctance to fulfill his initial promise. Promised the throne in return for retrieving the fleece, Jason now stood at a crossroads, aware that Pelias's grasp on the kingdom was not easily relinquished. The air grew taut with unsaid intentions, and the Argonauts, though celebrated for their triumph, sensed the impending challenge. Medea, with her sharp perception and strategic mind, took in the scene with a discerning gaze. She recognized the subtle gestures and diplomatic exchanges that hinted at undercurrents of political maneuvering. Her recent experiences had honed her instincts, and she could see the tension stirring within Jason, who now bore the burden of legacy and expectation. Whispers of discontent and potential betrayal floated around, yet she remained steadfast, determined to support Jason through the complexities of court intrigue. The jubilant cheers for the Argonauts rang loud, extolling their bravery and celebrating their return. However, amidst the festivities, Jason could not ignore the warning signs of discord beneath the facade of royal decorum. He confided in Medea, sharing his concerns over Pelias's hesitance to honor their agreement. As the citizens of Iolcus celebrated what was assumed to be a resolved saga, Jason understood that merely returning home did not end his trials. True peace and rightful rule demanded vigilance and strategy. Medea's unwavering determination strengthened her resolve to ensure Jason's rightful place as king, vowing to see justice served. Her presence, once a source of unease for the people, now emerged as a beacon of hope. Her intellect and insight into the shadowy corridors of power provided Jason with a formidable ally by his side. Together, they would navigate the intricate web of promises and obligations, poised to protect the future they had carved from myth and legend. As the sun ascended higher into the sky, casting its warm embrace over Iolcus, it became clear this return marked more than just the end of a journey. It was the commencement of a new odyssey. The legacy of their quest and the tale of the Golden Fleece lived on, a testament to the endurance and courage of those who dared to reshape destiny. The return of Jason and the Argonauts to Iolcus was supposed to be a moment of triumph. With the Golden Fleece now in their possession, there was an expectation of honor and glory. Yet, as the eager crowd that had gathered on the shores dissipated, and the initial cheers quieted, a sense of unease settled over the city. King Pelias, a figure of authority in Iolcus, was known for his cunning wit and treacherous heart. Despite Jason's successful completion of the quest, the king's promise to relinquish the throne remained just that, a promise unfulfilled. Medea, ever watchful, sensed the veiled threat in Pelias's demeanor and prepared herself for the tangled web of court intrigue. Medea's mind, sharp and strategic, began to formulate a plan. She knew the importance of securing Jason's rightful place as a leader and safeguarding the Argonauts' legacy. Her enchantments and wisdom, inherited from her heritage, would serve her well in this delicate dance of deception. Her loyalty to Jason was unwavering, and she was determined not to let treachery stand in their path. As twilight painted the city in hues of deep red and gold, she laid the groundwork for a plan that would require both patience and precision. Winning the trust of Peleus's daughters was Medea's first move in her intricate stratagem. Her approach was deceptively simple: offer them a glimpse of her magical prowess, cloaked in promises of renewal and vitality. The allure of such enchantments found fertile ground in their desires. Medea's ability to present her abilities as gifts rather than threats earned her their ear and their trust. Slowly but steadily, the daughters of Peleus became allies in her unfolding scheme, unwitting pawns in a game larger than they realized. The pivotal moment in Medea's plan came with her most daring act of cunning. She orchestrated a demonstration that seemed to transform an aged ram into a vibrant lamb, using nothing more than her charm and clever sleight of hand. This moment of apparent wonder captivated the daughters, who believed the same transformation could be brought upon their father, restoring his youth. The vision Medea painted of a rejuvenated King Peleus was so captivating that the daughters, emboldened by youthful naivete, pleaded with their father to submit to Medea's magic. Peleus, caught in the coils of Medea's deception, saw only the promises of power and renewed strength. His greed and ambition blinded him to the perilous path he was treading. Medea's ruse unfolded with precision, a potion prepared, but one with a poison that marked the end of Peleus's rule. In an act guided by her clever hands and determined heart, the union of artifice and prophecy was fulfilled, and the king was left undone, a victim of his own hubris and her shrewd maneuvering. As the news of the king's demise rippled through Iolcus, the city itself began to shift. Old alliances, once firm and unwavering, crumbled in the wake of Peleus's fall. In their place, new paths emerged, their foundations built on the promise of a future shaped by Jason's leadership. The tapestry of power within the city was being rewoven, threading together Jason's newfound role and Medea's influence. Jason's recognition of Medea's sacrifice and brilliance was profound. He understood that without her keen mind and courageous spirit, their victory might have been rendered hollow. Her actions ensured a future where he could lead Iolcus, yet he was acutely aware of the cost. Though the Golden Fleece had been their quest, it was Medea's resolve and decisive interventions that secured their legacy. Her abilities, seen by some as enigmatic and mysterious, had proven instrumental in achieving justice. In the quietude that followed, as the shadows lengthened across the palace corridors, Jason and Medea found a moment of respite. The echoes of their journey spoke of more than just conquest. They were reminders of the bonds forged in adversity and the wisdom gained through trial. As they stood together, the mantle of leadership settled upon Jason's shoulders with a heavy, yet rightful weight. Medea, with her gaze set firmly on the horizon of possibilities, remained his confidant and his partner in the challenges yet to come. Thus, the city of Iolcus adjusted to the new order, moving forward under the leadership of the hero who had returned with the legendary Golden Fleece. The legacy left in the wake of Peleus's fall was not only a tale of victory but of transformation, a dance of stratagem and destiny carefully maneuvered by Medea. In the stillness of the night, under the soft glow of flickering candles, the future began to unfurl, as did the enduring echoes of their mythic journey. As dawn rose over Iolcus, the golden glow of the new day mirrored the Golden Fleece now resting proudly in the sacred hall. This relic was more than just a prize. It symbolized the culmination of a long and transformative journey. Jason stood silently in reflection, his thoughts returning to the day he first embarked on his quest. The trials he had faced were not merely physical challenges, but tests that had shaped him into a leader who now understood the weight of his legacy. Through this voyage, Jason had come to realize that the Golden Fleece represented more than the hopes of a kingdom. It embodied the dreams of each Argonaut who accompanied him. Each step they took, every danger faced, was a testament to their endurance and unity. Jason felt a growing sense of gratitude for each member of his crew, whose courage had been essential to the success of their mission. Standing beside Jason in the dim light of the hall was Medea, her presence a powerful reminder of the transformation, not only of herself, but of Jason and their shared destiny. By aiding Jason, Medea had chosen to embrace change, severing ties with her past, while forging a new path as part of a greater legacy. Her astute insight and magical prowess had secured Jason's triumph, and now she considered the road that lay ahead. Medea understood that the path forward demanded adaptability, for she was both an outsider in this land and intimately woven into its future. As the Argonauts prepared to disperse back to their lands, each felt the undeniable bond forged through their shared journey. Their hearts carried the tale of their voyage, rich with lessons of bravery, camaraderie, and perseverance. The Golden Fleece was a testament to their collective victory and would continue to symbolize their story, a story that would be told through generations, inspiring future heroes and adventurers. In the sacred hall, the Golden Fleece shimmered with a warm amber light, a silent witness to the stories it had become part of. This artifact of myth and miracle stood as a reminder that the true essence of its legacy lay not in kingship or power, but in the endurance and transformation of those who sought it. It had become a symbol not just of treasure sought and found, but of the timeless journey of growth and understanding that each hero undertakes. Jason took one more silent moment of contemplation, considering the cyclical nature of his exploits. Myths and legends do not end, but weave into the fabric of time, each retelling adding layers of meaning and depth. In the complex tapestry of history and legend, Jason realized that his journey was but one thread, part of an eternal cycle of duty and legacy that would inspire countless others. As he turned away from the Golden Fleece, a serene peace filled him, knowing that his story would continue to inspire and challenge, passed down as part of a timeless tradition. Thus, the city of Iolcus settled into a gentle hush, the tales of its adventures carried on the whispers of the wind. In the quietude of twilight, it was understood that new stories would soon arise, born from the hearts of those emboldened by what had been achieved. The legacy of the Fleece, therefore, was not just a conclusion but a beginning, echoing through time, ensuring that the lessons learned and the strength forged would never be lost but endlessly reflected upon and reimagined. As the light dimmed, Sacred Hall stood quiet, its occupants' thoughts turning towards futures unwritten, their paths forever inscribed within the annals of myth. While the Golden Fleece remained suspended as a testament to their trials, it also shone bright as an invitation to all who dared to dream of their own quests, inviting them to become part of the enduring story of courage and legacy